Wardrobe for the Bass Tour Anglers podcast is provided by Koppel Outfitters. Go have an adventure. Visit them online at www.koppeloutfitters.com and on social media at Koppel Outfitters. Hello, everybody. Our guest today has won $1.5 million over his 13-year BASS career. He's qualified for 10 Bassmaster Classics, 116 money finishes, and 159 Bassmaster events. He's the winner of the BASS Elite Series on Pickwick Lake this past week. Bill Lowen, welcome to the Bass Tour Anglers podcast. Thanks for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
A lot's been said about your accomplishments in this sport. The one thing that seems like it's always been missing is that Elite Series win. Talk about what it means to finally win that blue trophy.
I tell you, it's been a long time coming. Truly feels like I've had a weight lifted off of me. I guess that kind of just puts the icing on the cake or actually solidifies your career as a professional angler. I've been close a lot of times and had the agony of defeat and now the taste of victory. So it's been, like I said, it's been a long time coming. Still hard to put into words how it feels. But it's been it was truly an amazing day.
Yeah, our mainstream media likes to do this with professional athletes. They like to always say all these things, but doesn't have the championship. I told myself I didn't want to be that person. But, the reality is there are no critics anymore because you have got over that hump now.
I'm truly amazed that all the support I've had and all the people that are actually following what I do. I truly had no idea until the first night after I won. I get back to the camper and I got, like 250 messages on text messages that I tried to answer before I went to bed, and truly just blown away at all my fans and all my supporters. And I can't thank them enough for sticking with me over all these years. And, from all the messages I'm seeing and hearing, it sounds like I made the whole fishing world shed a few tears a couple days ago.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I think there was a genuine swell. I mean, everywhere I looked on social media, there were these messages from big names in the sport talking about, just praising you on what you've always done and how you've always been there and congratulating you on your win. That was pretty neat to see.
Yeah, it was amazing to see, and I've always just treated people the way that I want to be treated. I've taught my children that same thing. And I think if you do that in life, pretty hard for anyone to say anything bad about you.
I thought it was a pretty telling moment when you put that 8-pounder on the deck. And the first thing you did is reference Denny Brower's positive message to you.
Yeah, Denny Brower and I have been friends for a long, long time. And he and I were actually practice partners before he retired. And, he sends me messages when I'm doing good at events and tells me to get it together when I'm not having such a good event. But to have a friend like that, send you messages. And, he's a legend of the sport. And for him to send you a message and tell you to catch one for him for good time's sakes and it actually working out was truly amazing. I just spoke with him on the phone about an hour ago, and it was pretty cool just to talk to him and let him share the moment with me and go back and tell him how it all went down. And, it's hard to put a price tag on truly good friendships.
Looking for a global action camera that gives you that authentic point of view perspective? Well, look no further. Tacticam Fisheye has you covered at a price the other guys can't touch. Tacticam Fisheye, because that fish of a lifetime happens once in a lifetime. We're talking to Bill Lowen. He is the champion of the BASS Elite Series event at Pickwick just this last week. Bill, where are you today? You are somewhere. I can see you're outside a motorhome. Where are you? What part of the country are you in now?
I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We had to come by here and stop at the Express Boats plant for a couple of days and do some media stuff as well. We're hanging out here today. The kids are swimming, enjoying the sunshine. And we are going to be heading off to Texas tomorrow to practice a little bit at Ray Roberts before the Classic before it goes off limits. And then from there, we'll leave straight to the Sabine River for our next event.
Very good. That's the life of a tour pro. So the event at Pickwick was unique. The Tennessee Valley Authority, I don't know how you feel about them, but what I got from the whole thing is they're doing a lot of juggling on water right now. There's a lot of water coming in. They needed to keep the various lakes on the chain at the right levels. And so you guys didn't get to start right away. Now I'm wondering, did all that affect your tournament? Talk about practice and what the 2-day delay and water changes did to your plans.
You know, when practice started, Lake Pickwick was below winter pool. I believe it was about a foot below winter pool, which I think that puts it about 6 or 7 foot low. And I'd never seen Pickwick Lake that low. So as the week progressed and the storm started coming in, we got a tremendous amount of rain. I'm not sure about how many inches of rain we got, but I know the lake came up 7 or 8 feet. And I literally caught every single bass I weighed in this week off of structure that was dry during practice. You know, when I come around that island and started on those laydowns, you know, in practice, they were completely dry. And now the shallow side of the cover had about 1 foot or 2 foot of water on it. And the deep end of the cover had 4 or 5 foot of water on it. The first tree I pulled up to, I got a bite in and I missed that fish. The second tree that I started to fish, I caught a really good keeper out of it, you know, like a 3 or 4 pounder. And that gave me the confidence to put my head down and fish up through there and see what happened. And the next thing I know, you know, I got a really good limit off the backside of that island. So it just let me settle down and fish in my comfort zone and run that area of Pickwick Lake and fish the pattern.
21-3 on that first day. Is that did that meet, or were you surprised by that, or was that what you thought you'd get?
You know, I truly didn't know what was going to happen, you know, after the floods and things like that. So to have 21 pounds and some change, I was very excited with that, you know, because truly I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I didn't even know if I had seen it in 2 days, you know, because of the cancellation. So to have 21 pounds, I was very happy with that.
Bill, if I can ask you this question as a novice angler, and I know a lot of our listeners are, does this happen that often? In other words, when water comes up 2, 3, 4 feet in a short amount of time, do bass naturally just migrate up there? Is that common? Is it what do you attribute all that to?
You know, truly, you know, typically as a rule of thumb, you can use this as a rule of thumb. When water comes up, the fish follow it. When water falls, they follow it. You know, so typically, whichever direction that water is going in, the fish will follow it and stay with it. So generally, as a rule of thumb, that's what you can remember on any body of water. Doesn't necessarily have to be a river. It can be a lake. But if that water is rising or falling, those fish are typically going to follow it.
That's good. It's good. It's good to learn that. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's quite a nugget to share with our listeners. Day 2, really strong day for you. 23-13, and you moved up the leaderboard. Anything different on day 2, or just a couple better bites?
You know, day 2 was a big repeat of day 1, except I was very fortunate to get a couple better than average bites. You know, I believe I caught 2 5-pounders that day, which truly put me over that 20-pound mark, you know, to that 23 and some change. And without those key bites, I probably wouldn't have won the tournament. Actually, no, I wouldn't have won the tournament.
Okay. Now, day 3, smaller limit, but just the way the tournament worked out, you moved up to that top spot. You were tied with Chad Pipkins going into day 4. Did the smaller limit concern you on day 3? Did you feel like you needed to make some adjustments?
You know, on day 3, I caught a tremendous amount of fish. I just didn't have that big fish in my bag. You know, I caught a lot of that 3.5-pound fish, which gives you 17.5 pounds. And I caught, like I said, I caught quite a few of those. But I didn't have that big bite, and that's what you needed every single day to get you to 20 pounds. And, I was a little concerned, but I felt like that if I just went out there and put my head down, I could catch me a limit of those 3.5 pounders again and get me another 17.5 pounds.
Tied for first going into that last day. And you said you were going to just put your head down and go after it. Now, day 4 started, and you got a camera in your boat. The whole world is watching. And day 4 started out kind of slow for you. I mean, both you and Chad were not catching fish right away. Did you move to a different spot at some point?
Yeah, I noticed within that first 30 or 40 minutes that my area was pretty much trashed. The water dropped 2 foot. It was muddy. So I knew if I didn't make an adjustment, I didn't move from that area, that things weren't going to work out really well. So, like I said, from being raised on the Ohio River and faced with those conditions, I knew that I had to find some areas that had a little bit of deeper water on them, So I had some areas where I'd caught some fish on docks and bluff ends and bluff swings and just places that had deeper water. So I pulled the plug on that deal and I went and ran that other pattern. I was very fortunate on my first couple stops to get 2 or 3 bites.
Your first 4 bites, if I remember correctly, were in the 2 pound range. Not the kind of fish you wanted to stay where you were, but that 5th bite was a special one, right?
Yeah, anytime that you can catch a fish like that, especially on the final day, it's just something really special, to catch a 8.5 to fill your limit out and know that may be the fish that changes the event for you is truly unbelievable. That doesn't happen very often, but looking back at a lot of events and a lot of tournaments I've watched over the years and watched guys win, it seems like there's always that one key special bite that it takes to, win one of those blue trophies. And that's exactly what happened this week. So, if you were writing a script for how to win a tournament, we couldn't have wrote this one any better. It just absolutely worked out perfect. And, like I said before, it was just a truly blessed week out there on the water.
So that final day, 5 bites is what you had. Did you catch any other keepers?
I caught those first 5, and then I caught 2 more that I may have called with, but the weight, it just didn't add a lot, so I don't believe we put it in. And then right at the end of the day, I caught one that called for sure. That was a solid 3 pounder. Well, at that point, I thought everything I had in the box was 2.5 pounders. I thought I had 4 2.5 out. They were all 3 pounders. But I didn't realize that till right at the end of the day when I caught that 3 pounder and called my littlest fish. And I got in the live well just to double check to make sure that was my smallest fish. And I told my camera guy, I said, man, these fish are a little better than I thought they were. So, when I got to the dock, I felt like I had about 18 or 19 pounds in the live well. And I still felt in my heart that I still needed that one more good bite to have a chance to win.
So you talked about floating the jig, and the way you described it in your interview after the tournament, that was very unique. Can you talk a little bit about that for us right now, what floating the jig means?
For me, what floating a jig means is, with that tremendous amount of current that's coming through the river, I want my bait to actually flow with that current and look really natural. I don't want that jig to go down and get stuck on the bottom or get stuck in the cover. So simply by using that 3/8 ounce, and another key to that is using 20-pound test fluorocarbon, and I was using Seagar and Vizex to help me do that. That is the perfect combination to get that jig to flow with that current and actually drift through the trees or reeds or rocks or whatever you're fishing. So simply by using that 3/8 allows the current to blow that through there and look really natural. And that's just something that I've done pretty much as long as I can remember.
That sounds a lot like the way I trout fish in streams. You throw above a pool and let it kind of float through. And of course, it's a little different with a 3/8 ounce jig, but it makes a lot of sense why you wouldn't fish. I think conventionally, the more current there is, the heavier your fish. But you're doing just the opposite in that case.
Well, with you bringing that up about trout fishing, that if you use too heavy of a bait, it's just going to go down and get stuck on the bottom. Right. So by using a lighter jig or whatever you're using to try to catch those trout, it'll actually float with the current. And floating that 3/8 ounce jig is no different. You know, if you tried to go with a 1/2 ounce or maybe a 5/8, it would go down and get stuck on the bottom. So by using that 3/8, allows that jig to just flow with the current.
It's outstanding. Does your global action camera give you the option to change lenses? Mine does. Tactacam's fisheye camera allows me to modify my viewing angle so I can film an extra wide or mini zoom. Tactacam fisheye, because that fish of a lifetime happens once in a lifetime. We're talking to Bill Lowen. He is the winner of the BASS Elite Series event at Lake Pickwick. Bill, you know, as I think back to 2018, you're the first pro that I remember to compete consistently on the tour level out of an aluminum boat. As a former aluminum boat owner, I couldn't believe a pro would do that. But here you are working out of express boats, and I think you certainly opened my eyes to express boats, and a lot of other people's as well, I'm sure. Talk a little bit about fishing out of an aluminum boat at this level.
You know, the express boat is, to me, in a different category than a lot of the other aluminum boats out there. You know, the express boat has a true padded hull under it. And what that means is if I was to flip that boat over, or a fiberglass boat, you wouldn't be able to tell any difference because the bottom. But what that boat does for me, you know, I'm predominantly known as a shallow water angler. So what that boat lets me do is go as far as I used to go on my fiberglass boat, but now I go even further, you know, and now I don't have to worry about tearing my boat up or, you know, scratching it on rocks and things like that. What that does for me is lets me fish in my comfort zone, lets me focus on the job at hand and not worry about destroying my boat.
You know, there are a few pros now fishing, several pros now fishing the express boat, and every single one of them that I hear talk, they always refer to it as being part of a family. What can you talk about that a little bit?
You know, absolutely. You know, to me, I mean, you've noticed, you know, here in the last week that I truly am a family man. You know, to me, that's the most important thing that there is. And from the first time that I walked through the doors at Express Boats, I felt that family atmosphere there, and I felt that was something that I wanted to be part of. I mean, there's really, truly something to be said for that. You know, Express Boats is a 50-plus-year-old company, and they're all family. You know what I mean? Their shirts, I mean, they're blue jeans and flannel shirt guys and not suit and tie guys, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not Bill Lowen. Bill Lowen is not a suit and tie guy. You know what I mean? So, like I said, when I walked through the door there and felt that family atmosphere, I knew that it was something that I wanted to be part of. And it's truly, I'm just truly blessed to be part of Express Boats.
Now, here's the big question. Did fishing out of an aluminum boat help you this week?
Oh, I think absolutely. Like I said, to me, fishing is all about confidence and being in your comfort zone. And that's what that boat does for me. I mean, you watch me get up in trees and flip and do exactly what I needed to do. So, you know, to have that fishing platform with that Yamaha SHO on it, you know, I've been running Yamahas my whole career, going on about 18 years now. And I've never had a single mechanical issue that's left me stranded on the water, you know, unless I've done it myself, like tear a prop up or knock a gear case off or something like that. But as far as mechanical wise, over the last 18 years, that Yamaha has never left me on the water. So with that being said, you know, having that Express and that Yamaha, knowing I can leave the dock, do exactly what I need to do, focus on the job at hand, and then when it's time to fire that Yamaha up and get back to the dock, I'm about 110% sure that I don't have any worries and that I'm going to make it back. And what else that does, it lets you fish till the last minute, lets you take those chances that maybe you wouldn't typically take. So for me, it's all about being confident, and that's exactly what that package does for me.
Well, Bill, you're a great champion. We're very excited that you got your blue trophy this week. Good luck the rest of the way. We know you got Bassmaster Classic coming up in a few weeks, and best of luck to you. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, buddy. Thank you, and I appreciate you having me.
All right.
dark at night.